Hi Virgo, welcome to your reading for the month of July. My name's Wendy and today I will be using the Robin Wood Tarot for your July 2025 tarot reading. For all the signs this month, I'm using the metaphor of the bloom cycle because where I live it is gardening season, it's summer, and I have this beautiful rose plant, and it's really brought my attention to the cycles and honoring those cycles. You know, at the beginning of the season, there's always this burst of life, and we have these plants with full blooms and beautiful abundance, vibrant colors, something to really behold. And then a few weeks later, those blooms start to disintegrate. They shrivel up and the plant goes back to being green, and you've got no flowers for a while. And so in those moments, you're taken from an outer focus to an inner focus and to one of faith, one of trust. It's almost like a moon cycle, which makes me think about moon gardening as well. Some of you could maybe be wanting to do moon gardening, but we're looking at the bloom cycle of what's blooming in your life, what is falling away, and then we're going to look at what you're learning or what you're gaining from this cycle. And I don't want to dictate what you're meant to take from it, but I think some guidance could be helpful. You do have Mars transiting your sign, which is really empowering, and I think it's good for everybody. It gives us this nice grounding effect, helps us take care of things that matter, details of daily life. And for you personally, it's a big boost of energy, it's empowerment, feeling in control, feeling powerful, feeling strong. So Virgo, let's see what's coming up for you. What is blooming in July? Virgo. What's blooming is the Ten of Swords. Okay, so what's blooming right now is actually the end of something. Overwhelm. Perhaps with Mars in your sign, you've taken on too many things. You've been so eager and confident that maybe you've committed to too many things or you've pushed yourself too far. That workout, you just went a little too hard, and maybe you are experiencing some muscle aches, back pain. I'm hearing that there's a new method of healing, because with that card, I do think of acupuncture. Could even be Reiki, something that aligns down the spine. Alignment seems to be, I'm getting something about alignment. And shedding a skin. I'm seeing a snake imagery, so shedding a skin. And I feel that this identity change I'm hearing is kind of painful, because even though it's for the sake of growth, it does come with growing pains. And so you may have been quite comfortable where you were, and I apologize for that exposure. I'm still kind of playing with my lighting and things, but I do like to just sit in front of the open window with candles because it's nature. I've gone through so many different lights trying to light up the videos, but I really just can focus when I have just that natural. So anyway, like what I'm saying, right, for the sake of growth, there could be something that is it's hard to admit it to yourself, or it's hard to accept. We're going to come back to this. Let's see what's falling away. What is disintegrating in your life? What's falling away? The Tower. Okay. So the Tower is the change of mind. The Tower is the change of lifestyle, the change of priorities, the wake-up call where you realize priorities have not been what they should have been. You've kept yourself safe somehow. You may have been keeping yourself small. Often with the Tower, we can kind of think of royalty. Like I do kind of think of someone who, for whatever reason, kind of keeps themselves away from the rest of the world, whether you've been purposely sheltering yourself or there's been some serious mental health concerns going on where you have isolated. Or, the Tower can often be a blow to the ego for others of you, where it is this wake-up call, and it shifts everything completely, and it shakes us, it rocks us, and it says, you've been prioritizing the material things. You've really been investing in something that you knew would not bring a return. You've built a foundation. You've built something upon a foundation that was not established, right? A false foundation. And so because that's what's falling away, I feel like the worst of it, or the shock of it, has already taken place. And you're starting to feel those shifts. And it is quite karmic. There's a universal power to the Tower card, where it's really not in our hands. It's meant to fall. And this can often happen when we kind of knew it was coming. It's like, I just could never picture a future there. And so I'm not surprised that now suddenly I have to move on from where I am or where I've been. So think about that. Is there something in your life where you haven't been able to picture a future? And I know with the state of the world and with all the changes we're going through, the outer planets changing and everything, sometimes it can be hard to have that long-term plan and see yourself in 5-10 years. The world changes so much with technology, etc. But there is this feeling of, we still are usually able to know that the foundation will still be there in that time. The outer stuff around it might fall away or change, but we can usually still feel the foundation and those basic things, those primal things. I don't know if primal is the right word, but it's coming to mind. And with this, it feels like not even the foundation was really known. So is there something in your life you haven't been able to define, you haven't been able to envision, because it is now kind of being illuminated? There's something false that's been going on, and to have the Ten of Swords in terms of what you are now, what's blooming or what you're now experiencing, is the aftermath. And I want to say that the healing can begin, because the shock is over, the change, everything has kind of transpired. And now that Ten of Swords, okay, yep, I have fallen from my tower, and I recognize that I have to I feel like there's a heaviness, like I'm feeling armor if I want to stand up, or if I want to, move forward. There's something quite heavy that I have to shed. Is it physical? Is it a mental thing? Is it emotional? All at once? I just feel like there has been a false promise. You could very well have gone on someone else's word. Maybe you were promised security, and now you find that that person wasn't really able to make that promise. They had good intentions, but they've had a reality check as well. So I think I'm hearing that that's important to note as well, that if this was someone else who promised you something and you were kind of hoping to form the foundation with them, they had good intentions, but they just have had a reality check as well, and they're just not able to build that in the way that was previously envisioned. Got quite the sprouts going on today. I'm trying to grow out my Joan Jett haircut, but it's like, it feels cool. Okay, Virgo. So now, what are you meant to learn or take away from this experience? Because there's got to be a lesson, right? A lesson. Lesson sounds harsh, but there's always wisdom to be gained from everything that we go through in life. So I have a feeling it's something about self-reliance, or like the Ace of Pentacles. Let's see what it is. Virgo, what are you meant to take away or gain or learn from this experience? How to heal? Did you move too quickly? I feel like some of you moved a little too quickly, and you were healing something like an injury or something you've been dealing with, like almost I'm sensing a chronic illness, and maybe there was a flare-up and then it went away and you were kind of in like remission or just feeling really good. You might have pushed it a little much. I'm wondering about balance. It feels like balance and strength are wisdoms to be gained here as well. You're not going to be surprised when you see this. When we talk about self-reliance and trust and feeling, sensing something there, that High Priestess, your intuition was correct all along. You felt it in your gut, you knew it in your heart, your mind, your spirit. Again, when you just can't, you're like, I don't know, I just can't imagine myself. It's like you get that job that seems like it's going to pay well and the company's growing and you got in at a really good time and you think, yeah, I guess I'll be here until I'm in my 60s, but I really can't picture that. There's something there. So the High Priestess, your intuition, connecting to the self in a profound way, your knowledge, your greater knowledge, your higher self. Some of you, it's been dreams, but it really is that silent knowing, the wisdom that comes from within. And I think self-reliance as well. The High Priestess is independent. She works alone. She represents the lady or the person alone. Maybe you work best in some kind of solitude, in a quieter environment. You're definitely coming to know yourself. And again, when we see the Ten of Swords, we know that the healing begins. The healing begins with the Ten of Swords. Because the worst is over, it's already happened. You acknowledge that the swords are there in your back. Some of you could be feeling quite stabbed in the back. Some of you, I don't know, there's just this, it's like I knew it all along, the High Priestess. So some of you have ignored your intuition, I think, and that's, we all do, right? We all do for whatever reason, whether we're discounted, someone discounts our intuition, or maybe High Priestess is very quiet. That inner wisdom is quiet, but it is constant. However, there's always a louder voice in the room. And sometimes it's quite easy to be distracted by that loudest voice. The shiny thing, the loud voice, the biggest, boldest promise. And I feel like I want to pull you close. I don't know why. I feel like I want to pull you close so that you can hear me in a confidential conversation, perhaps. Virgo, I feel like we need one more card. Something is going from material almost from material to nothingness, from noise to quiet. Some of you have really been rocked, and you're adjusting to the silence, adjusting to the solitude. I really feel that there's been a blow to the ego here with the Tower card. There's kind of a reminder to connect with oneself and have those healing rituals that you do, like whether it's writing in a journal or singing a song or playing your piano or gardening or handiwork, whatever it is that you do for that peace, like a peaceful kind of hobby or something that helps you process. And I'm hearing it's okay if you're having a hard time concentrating on it. I think a lot of you are getting used to a new way of working, a new adjustment to your life in a big way. This High Priestess, I feel, represents someone you can take solace in. You can take solace in someone, a confidant, maybe a therapist, maybe a counselor, maybe somebody who can help guide you forward, help you find the answers within yourself. That's the mystery with the High Priestess. She does have the answers, but she knows that you have the answers as well. So she's going to challenge you to connect to that part of yourself that knows. Because you don't want to give your power away again. You want to connect to that part of yourself that knows. And again, whether it's doing all those hobbies we just talked about, there's something that really connects you to that answer where everything feels peaceful, everything makes sense. It's quite healing. It's quite healing. The Nine of Cups as advice. So I can't believe I just realized that this is what gets rid of the Nine of Cups. Yeah, there's something about be careful what you wish for with the Nine of Cups, right? It's a little bit of a tricky card sometimes because on the one hand, it asks us to really connect to our heart space. What have you been wishing for at a soul level? Because that wish will be granted, and it is something that is meant for you, something that will align more with your heart. And I think the shock of this is realizing that you don't actually want what you thought you wanted. You might not need what you thought you needed. And to go from the Tower and the Ten of Swords to the High Priestess with the Nine of Cups, this is quite a lifestyle change of prioritizing feeling, how something feels rather than how it looks. How does your soul feel? I feel for a lot of you, there's also a message about nourishment. Vitamins, minerals in particular. And this is maybe for one of you out there, but I feel that there is a new job opportunity working in public health. Maybe some of you have worked in a public-facing position and you want to work more behind the scenes. Maybe some of you vice versa. you've been an administrator in an office and you're kind of curious about what the other working professionals do there, the ones with the title, the ones who maybe meet with the clients or the customers, and you're going, I think I want to study that. There's something about consulting here, like working with people and in a private, sacred sort of manner. But it is quite a change, but it's beautiful that we resolve with these cards, because I would much rather end a reading with these than start the reading, right? And go into the tower. So the shock is over, the change, now you're shedding a skin and thinking about what really matters to you and where you can truly be of service. And it's Piscean. There's a very Piscean element to this. I'm hearing something with sleep, dreams, hypnosis. Maybe this is something that you all could benefit from having done to you, like seeking a service from someone. Maybe a tarot reading. Looking deeper, because these are quite surface level. These are quite surface level. And the High Priestess and Nine of Cups are soul's wishes. And they are quiet. So I feel for a lot of you, you're changing priorities. You're moving from a life of like materialism. And you can see that I'm shy and hesitant to say that because I don't want it to sound judgmental, but it really feels, and it's not that I'm feeling judgmental, but I think that when we use this type of language, it can feel that way. And it is hard to admit to ourselves that we maybe have prioritized things. You know, you get a taste of it and it starts to, you want more and more. So it's like, there's a humility to this, what really matters to me, what speaks to my soul. And I'm feeling someone just smelling the wind and just being out in the open air and at nighttime or in the evening or on a gray afternoon. A lot of information in this reading, I know, but there's a lot of people watching, so I want to make sure that we cover everything that's coming through, because this is holistic. This affects you in every area of life. It's a massive overhaul, and it's going to recalibrate you to where you're really meant to be. And with the High Priestess, I see you maybe in service somehow to others. So Virgo, I will leave that there. I do hope you have a wonderful month ahead. I hope that this reading helps you navigate some of these changes that you may be dealing with. I am opening my books as well for personal readings again, so if you want a personal reading with me, I would love to read your cards. My email address is in the description box. So email me and we will set something up. I don't have a website anymore. I just want to keep it as simple as possible as I work on my master's degree to become a psychotherapist. So Virgo, wishing you the very best, and I will see you soon.